one of the greatest tricks of ever is to get us to think that we have a matrix to escape. And then we're using all our energy to do so. When in fact, that very energy that we're using is the thing that keeps us in the matrix in the first place. Devious, isn't it? You spend all this time trying to figure out the lies from the truth. And it's all tangled together by design. If you really think about it, they always want us distracted. They've got all kinds of webs of lies, and we're trying to decipher it all. And it's siphoning our energy, when in fact, if we just slowed down and realized what Jason Breshears of Archaic says, which is there are two different worlds we're living in. One of them is part of the larger construct, and it is not something we can control. And then there's the personal, and that's something we have more control over, obviously. And when we focus upon that instead of the larger construct, we're guiding our energy. When you listen to some of the mystics, the idea of Christ consciousness in each of us needing to just be reawakened, then it becomes a little more effective to go inwards and really achieve that consciousness level. And when each of us is allowed to do this, it feeds the other, and we help each other towards that end result. Suddenly, we start realizing we are just these God particles floating around, and achieving results becomes a lot easier. Now, there are 3 different cheat codes. They don't come from me, and they're something that have been around, but there's a couple different elements that make them more specific, and they come from a trustworthy source, Gregg Braden. When you use these cheat codes, they do work wonders, but the thing of it is, most of the time, we get distracted, at least I do, by all these things from the outer world, and we don't achieve the result, mostly because of one little flip that they've made us focus upon, and that is the mind versus the heart. See, the mind goes all over the place, which is why meditation is so popular, right? The mind is all over the place, and yet we use our mind to guide things. But what if we're supposed to use our heart instead? Here's Gregg Braden talking about the heart and its abilities contrasted to the brain.
Our hearts are 5,000 times as powerful magnetically than our brains. When we create thoughts, feelings, emotions, beliefs, compassion, prayers of forgiveness in our hearts, that's the words that we call those experiences. To the field, what we're doing is we're creating electrical and magnetic waves in here that are now known to change the stuff out here. And in that way, we are linked. So when we talk about our universe, possibly as a simulation, it tells us that we are not separate, that we are empowered, not to control or manipulate or impose our will, rather to participate, as Princeton physicist John Wheeler suggests, to participate in the way this reality unfolds.
So besides the heart and the emotionality of it, there's also the idea of uber focus. It's all about distraction. It's all about distraction. If they're able to keep us distracted rather than focused, well, that's most of it right there. So here are the cheat codes. Opening code. Obviously, the whole idea here is to know exactly what you want, be brief and concise with your language. Then you have your body code. Okay, so the body code is to the subconscious. It's high emotional intensity of an already achieved result. You have to feel it with emotional intensity as if it's already achieved. Because you can see it logically in your mind, but you have to feel it to enact that magnetic heart coherence, and that affects the field. Now, for some of you, this borders on woo-woo, but I think if you really look at the science behind what Gregg Braden talks about, you'll realize that it's really not. They've proven a lot of things. So your ending code is basically sealing with truth, trust, and faith. And you can say different words that mean that in totality to you. So if you haven't thought of anything, one thing you can use what Gregg Braden talks about, Lahalam, Almin, Amen. And by using that to seal it, you do fine. But there are many other words you can use as long as they have that same meaning of truth, trust, and faith. It's up to you to seal it in the faith that you see best or align with the most. You can use other phrases as long as you have that faith. The key is to remain focused on your inner world despite all the chaos that's going on, or trying to save the world like the usual movie heroes.
This is an extremely primitive and paranoid culture. Chekhov will issue a phaser and a communicator to each team. We'll maintain radio silence except in emergencies. Those of you in uniform, remove your rank insignia. Let's do our job and get out of here. Our own world is waiting for us to save it, if we can.
Okay, this last part is to basically consistently focus with determination and faith, doing your best. And for me in this area, Myron Golden says it the best. Check it out.
Whatever your hand finds to do it with all your might. Do you know how small of a population in the world there is that practice that? Truth is, the transformation is in the truth and in the execution of that truth. But don't just execute it, execute with excellence. I can execute it effortlessly without the use of conscious resources. Amateurs practice until they get it right. Professionals practice until they can't get it wrong. You need to create an environment in which you can practice until you can't get it wrong. All of us do.
Really, it's all a distraction. So you need to know your outcome and move toward it with uber focus. And then connect with like-minded people so they can help you get up when you fall down. Now, of course, this isn't easy. Otherwise, most would do it. It's easy to know and yet hard to consistently do. Ask how I know. Whoa, Jesus. So if you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a like. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.